folks, welcome back to Game Geeks. I'm your host, Kurt Wiegel. Today's episode, something slightly different, a pair of GM screens for the Doctor Who role-playing game and Starblazer Adventures. I'm sort of weird about my GM screens because I always wonder, are they really necessary? I mean, come on, folks. If you have a 3-ring binder or a little creativity, you can make your own GM screen, or at least that's what I used to think. Back when I was playing Blue Planet a lot, many, many years ago, like, oh God, 8, when I was playing a lot of Blue Planet, there wasn't a specific GM screen for that, and I was tired of flipping. So what I did was I spent a couple hours going into Word, typing in all the appropriate tables, printing them out, taping them on the inside of some manila folders, and trying to tape those together and have it stand up in some semblance of order. It didn't really go so well. So after that, I started respecting the GM screens more. For the longest time, my favorite GM screen was one of the earlier Call of Cthulhu GM screens because it was cardboard blue, and it was a 4-panel, low-aspect product. I use this book as my example. So it was 4 panels set sort of like this, and it wasn't top-heavy like a lot of the cardboard GM screens were at the time, so it didn't fall over as often. It was well-decorated on one side. The inside had all the appropriate tables and information, which was really handy. A couple years ago, I started becoming aware of these cardstock GM screens, sort of like this, that are darn near bulletproof, I think. One of the earlier ones of these I reviewed at the time was the Hollow Earth Expedition GM screen, which I described at the time as being able to stop a charging Triceratops. Now, we've got entire generations of these same stuff that makes up the hardback covers, cardboard, heavy-duty GM screens. So enough of my pontification on GM screens. Let's talk what these have. We'll start with the Doctor Who one. On the player's side, you get these lovely widescreen panoramic view of what looks to be a Sontaran Dalek team-up to kill the Doctor. Obviously, in the history of the show, there's never been a Sontaran Dalek team-up, so this is just well-done art, kind of cobbled together with a nice meteor swarm in the background with David Tennant, the 10th Doctor, standing in front of the TARDIS. On the inside, because let's face it, folks, that's where the meat and potatoes of the GM screen is. You get one that is basically how to use the entire thing. How to use the basic engine, the attribute plus skill and trait plus 2 6-sided dice equals your result. You get the difficulty table, the how well did you do table, how the story point applies, then essentially all of it laid out very nicely, the tech level table, the effects of damage and how they affect your different attributes, how to do a chase, because let's face it, there's a lot of chases and a lot of running in Doctor Who. Then essentially everything you need to run the game. The player side, again, has the pretty picture. Notice how sturdy this is. I've had players get really honked off at me and throw dice during a game and knock over my GM screen, which then dumps over my diet soda, spills it everywhere, mass hysteria, it never ends well. This gives you a really good prevention for that. And I'd like to point out on the inside, no wasted space. All set against a nice backdrop of the interior of the TARDIS as seen in the 9th and 10th Doctor's reigns, if you will. The Starblazer Adventure one gives you the player side all covered with 4 panels of art. So it doesn't blend together, which is okay, it just depends on what you like. 4 panels of art as specifically applied for the Starblazer Adventure. Sort of all of these are taken from the original comic and gives you a feel for that sort of 1980s sci-fi Judge Dredd style art and feeling that I always got from looking at the art in Starblazer Adventures. The inside, again, crammed with art, sort of same art that's on the other side of the panel, is all the tables you need. A weapons table, costs, basically everything you need here to run a quick reference for a GM screen. The one comment I've heard other people make about these is the player side is all art. Some people like player sides that actually have charts and tables of their own. My only issue with that is your players have to go a lot at the screen that you're looking at, which makes me think, are they trying to read my notes? It always makes me a little nervous. Both of these are heavy, cardboard, 4-panel, art on the outside, good tables on the inside, GM screens. I like these a lot. If you're going to run a Doctor Who game, or you're going to run a Starblazer Adventures game, or really almost any Fate game, these would be invaluable resources for you to have. For Game Geeks, I'm your host, Kurt Wiegel. Good day and good gaming.